Hello, my kako. My name is Noel Peralto.
And I'm Haley Peiliahu.
And we're calling in today from Pa'uilo, Hamakua, here on Hawaiʻi Island. And I serve as the Executive Director of Hui Malama Keala Ulili. Today, I have the honor and privilege of introducing Melanie Leilā Dudley, candidate for the Masters of Science in Tropical Conservation Biology and Environmental Science. I first met Leila in July 2016 when she visited our Hui's ʻāina restoration site at Koholalele here in Hamakua with her cohort of peers in Halau Ohia, led by Antikekuhi Keli'i Kanakaʻole. After that first meeting, it appears as if the tentacles of Kanaloa never quite let go of Leila, as she continued to return to us completely on her own accord to attend Malama ʻāina workdays, workshops, and other events organized by our hui for the next 4 years. Like the barnacles of a whale, the land of the leaping whale seems to have stuck with her, and we are extremely thankful that it did. In short, Leila showed up and has continued to show up for this place, this community, and this hui ever since, with a deep sense of aloha, humility, kuleana, and unmatched enthusiasm to reciprocate all that this ʻāina, Koholalele, and this island of Hawaii provides for us. She is a thoughtful, inquisitive, and extremely driven individual whose determination to achieve excellence and whose personal gifts have enhanced our hui's capacity to fulfill our mission immensely. In her own words, Leila was born and raised in the ahupua'a of Ka'apoko and Papa'iko in Hilo Paliku on Hawaii Island. She's raised in a multicultural home where she learned French from a very young age, which gave her a unique appreciation of language. This led her to learn Olelo Hawaii and Hawaiian lifeways, which gave her a completely different perspective and understanding of this place we all call home. With this came an understanding of kuleana and also a passion for caring for our ʻāina and kupuna with roots, our native plants. Because of the depth of this brought to her life, she wants to be able to give this same opportunity to other keiki and community members of Hawaii through ʻāina education and letting the plant and animal people, natural elements, and ʻāina be those foundational kumu. She graduated in 2013 with a BA in Hawaiian Studies and a BS in Environmental Science at the University of Hawaii at Hilo, and is currently a Master of Science student in TCBES program. Since graduating, she has worked for DLNR Dofa Napu'u Conservation Project based out of the Ahupa'a Pu'uwa'awa'a as the Outreach and Environmental Education Associate, and is now the ʻāina Education Coordinator for our organization, Hui Malama i Keala Ulili, principally based in the Ahupa'a of Koholalele, helping to fulfill her dream of enabling the people of Hawaii to develop relationships with their lineage, place, history, and community through ʻāina education. So without further ado, Leila.
Aloha e. Aloha e na akua, aloha e makahana loa, aloha e koholalele, aloha e pu'uwa'awa'a, aloha e na aumakua, aloha e na ali'i o Hawaii, aloha e na kupuna, aloha e na makua, aloha e ka lehulehu. Aloha e. Aloha nui kako. Mahalo nui no'eau for that beautiful introduction. First and foremost, before I introduce myself, I just want to let everyone know that I do have an audience here in this room, my parents. So I apologize if I'm not looking directly at you the whole time. And the little chickadee that might be making some noise. But yes, Velina Maikako, my name is Melanie Leilā Dudley, and today my presentation is titled A Healthy Land Produces Healthy People. And I'll be focusing on the importance of Pilina, our relationship with place, community, and cultural-based education for a more sustainable future. I am a tropical conservation, biology, and environmental science student at the University of Hawaiʻi at Hilo, and was privileged to do my internship with Hui Mālama i Ke Ala Ulili. None of this would be possible though without the funding from the Hauʻoli Maulua Foundation. So I'm eternally grateful to all of you. Mahalo. Next, hey. Hi. So I started with well, first, actually, I wanted to go over a quick overview of what I'm going to be speaking of. I'm going to kind of give some background, talk about why ʻāina education, why it's something that I'm passionate about, the importance of Pilina. Then I'll go into talking about the hui that I had the privilege to work with, a little bit about our collective kuleana, my individual kuleana, my individual responsibilities that I had, and then I'll move into a discussion and conclusion about how much everything that I've learned from hui mau, how it's impacted my life and how it's forged my future. So, oh vaya, who am I? Well, first off, I want to let you know that I started with a mele entitled Aloha E'ie. And the reason for this was to bring the importance of cultural practice, things like chants, and the practice of this culture, of the Hawaiian culture in conservation to the forefront. As a part of my personal worldview, acknowledging all of the entities that surround us, people, but also places, plants and animals is of utmost importance. Through this relationship, we can see ʻāina becoming healthier and producing a healthier people. Oh yeah. So here are some of the names of the places that have really had an effect on my upbringing and the perspectives that I have today. O Hawaiʻi kuʻu moku puni, o Mauna Kea kuʻu mauna, o Hilo paliku kuʻu moku, o puʻu alala me puʻu waʻawaʻa kuʻu mau puʻu, o Alia me makea kuʻu mau wai, o Kohola lele kuʻu kai, o Kaʻapoko a me makahana loa kuʻu mau ahupuaʻa. So these are places here in Hawaiʻi that have helped to raise me. I'm eternally grateful to my ohana, pictured here, also here, and all of my ancestors that came before. Although I was born and raised here in Hawaiʻi, genealogically I'm connected to the lands of Algeria, Morocco, Saudi Arabia, the American continent, and Europe, and connected to the Amazigh people, the Arabic people, the Vikings, among a few others. I'm also connected to the places where I have lived, which include France, Costa Rica, and Colombia. Although I am not of Native Hawaiian descent, my piko, or my center, is here in Hawaiʻi, and I choose to identify myself and the way I live my life with the values and traditions of the Hawaiian culture. Through a Hawaiian stewardship training program called Talau Ohia, Auntie Kekuhi Kiali'i Kanakaʻole o Haililani teaches us that for those of us who are not of Hawaiian origin, although we may not be genealogically connected to this land, we are part of this place and connected to it because we drink the water from this land. We breathe the air that comes from our forests and eat of this soil. This then makes us accountable to care for this place. So when I refer to a Hawaiʻi worldview, I'm not implying that you need to be of Hawaiian descent to view ʻāina in this way and care for it as such. Mahalo noʻeau for speaking about the way that I was raised, right? Because I was raised in this multicultural fashion, speaking French, I really learned from a young age that how easily messages and thoughts could be changed based on the perspective of the person, and really just based on the person translating the message. This is one of the things that really motivated me to learn Olelo Hawaiʻi. And again, that opened up a completely new world to me. And it made everything that I had ever learned in Hawaiian become many, many layers deeper. I began to feel an even stronger sense of Pilina, and it made me a lot more accountable to this place and connected to my kuleana, which, as Noea refers to, is both a privilege and a responsibility. This also deepened my passion for aloha and malama ʻāina. And later in life, Halau Ohia also showed me just the importance of relationships, Relationships are what sustain lives. The existence or absence of a relationship with a certain entity could mean life or death. By seeing ʻāina as ohana, as family, and someone with whom we want to develop and share a reciprocal relationship with, we can come to better understand ʻāina and care for it in the best way possible, which will in turn care for ourselves and our communities. I had the opportunity to work for the Department of Land and Natural Resources Division of Forestry and Wildlife at the Napu'u Conservation Project, as Noel said, as the Outreach and Environmental Education Associate at Pu'uwa'awa'a. And there I was able to actively educate others, really my passion, yeah, through place-based education about the importance of Pu'uwa'awa'a and its native species. I was fortunate to have very supportive bosses at the time, which allowed me to be creative in the ways I educate and incorporate Hawaiian language and culture. Overall, though, it seemed that culture-based education wasn't a core driver for the state. For those officials at the very top, yeah, who decide what major priorities are and how funding is then going to be allocated. It seemed that it was more of an add-on versus being a part of the fiber of the state's mission. In the future, it'd be really nice to see Hawaiian life ways and culture as more of a priority, and for it to be required for all state employees to go through some kind of a training when they're initially hired. If we need to go through a training for pesticides, a training for chainsaws and things like that, we should go through a training for Hawaiʻi practices, yeah? If we think of ʻāina as our family, as our ohana, we need to care for it in more than just a physical way. We do just care, do we just care about our children in a physical way? I don't think so. Yeah, we don't just care for their physical needs, but we also care for their mental and their emotional needs. And for me, the answer is becoming familiar with and practicing Hawaiʻi life ways to tend to those needs of ʻāina. Through life experiences and personal encounters, I was led to ʻāina education. ʻāina education is a term coined by Dr. Maya Safari, which involves place-based education, but it also incorporates indigenous community-based education with Hawaiian epistemology and culture, serving as a core foundation upon which to build. Place-based education can be done at a Malama ʻāina site, but would merely mean doing an activity that could be done inside, outside, in a particular place. Yeah, but ʻāina education incorporates the people who inhabit that place and call it home, as well as their history and culture. So in our case, the Hawaiian epistemology. Creating a bond between people in place can help people feel more accountable for the environment and lead to greater overall ecosystem health. Research has also shown that place-based education increases community and ecosystem health. It also helps our communities become more sustainable. Place-based education can also improve the physical and emotional health of our students. Furthermore, indigenous community-based education can lead to communities becoming more sustainable, resilient, and interdependent. We can then conclude that by carrying out ʻāina education in Hawaiʻi, this then is the way that we can best reach and communicate with people of Hawaiʻi to ensure a thriving people and biota that will support the many generations to come. By pursuing a higher education through the TCBES program, I then wanted to learn different ways of carrying out ʻāina education, how to do this here in Hawaiʻi. Through my work with the state, I realized that maybe the way I could be the most useful was in the community-based organizations. And that's where resources were needed the most. Hui Mau was then the perfect organization to intern for. I was fortunate with my involvement through Halau Ohia, as Noel had mentioned. My first experience at Koholalele was something that just completely blew my mind away. I was blown away at the depth at which Haley and Noel, my mentors, at the depth that they understood their place and their mo'olelo, their traditional stories. And I think it inspired all of us and continues to inspire everyone who visits Koholalele and engages with Hui Mau to want to do this, to want to care for their ʻāina in the places where they are from. So really it seemed that this, through Halau Ohia and these first roots at Koholalele, I didn't really choose my internship, but it was this pilina, it was this relationship that led me to working with Hui Malama Ikiala Ulili. On a side note, I just want to add, I just want to stress the importance of pilina with communities in graduate work. And that it's important to first develop trust and really build relationships with communities and see how we can best help the communities instead of our opinion on what is best, how we think we can best serve a community. We should ask them how we can help instead of just pushing our own agenda. So who is Hui Mālama Kiala Ulili? Hui Mau for short. You can see some images of Hui Mau here, our staff as well as the founding families. Hui Mālama Kiala Ulili is a community-based organization of ohana from Hamakua Hikina, East Hamakua on Hawaii Islands. Our Hui was founded in 2011 and recognized as a nonprofit organization, a 501c3 in 2015. Again, I'm just fascinated about how our Hui began and really how its roots were established. Everything about this Hui just, it truly began as an ohana effort, straight out of this community of Pa'awilo. It started with a small group of 15, maybe about 15 ohana members, people that I'm so grateful to now call my own ohana. But these people, they knew their kuleana. It was something that was burning with them, a passion to want to take care of their ancestral homelands of Koholalele. So one day they came together and started to hand pull guinea grass, one of our more famous invasive species in Hamakua, in what is now our ʻāina restoration area. That's this photo here on the top. That's kind of the first area that they started in, but it didn't even look like that at the time. The ʻāina is, this ʻāina, actually, just wanted to add also that they started with no machines, with just their bare hands and hand tools. So this ʻāina here of Koholalele is part of the ʻāina that is owned by Kamehameha Schools. It's along with all of the other ʻāina that they own on the Hamakua coast. Over time, it became a place where safety had become an issue. So unfortunately, people started to do a lot of illegal dumping alongside the roads and even in the gulches and in the streams and the waterways and other kinds of unwelcomed illegal activities as well, which was not serving the ʻāina in a positive way. Yeah, that's really another thing that stemmed this Malama ʻāina. So what happened next? The Hui Mau ohana, they continued to gather at Koholalele and malama this place with values of aloha ʻāina. Ohana got to know this place through ike maka, through spending time in place, and also through mo'olelo and mele. Eventually, others started to want to kokua with this ohana effort, yeah? And it became more of a Hawaii Islands community effort. School groups and community organizations started to help in this malama, which then led to it formally becoming a 501c3 nonprofit organization that it is today. We are hui that is committed to cultivating hipuka. These are safe regenerative spaces that foster and regenerate the growth of place-based ancestral knowledge, healthy food and ecosystems, and strong ohana with the capacity to live and thrive in this area of Hamakua for generations. Our mission is to reestablish the systems that sustain our community through place-based educational initiatives and ʻāina-centered practices that cultivate abundance, that regenerate responsibilities, and promote collective health and well-being. In doing so, we are empowered to continue on the pathways and traditions of our kupuna and establish new pathways for the present and for the future pono of our ʻāina and ohana of Hamakua. I'm really humbled to be able to engage in the work alongside founding members of this hui who are lineal descendants of these lands, as we all strive to embody aloha ʻāina there. Our organizational goals are centered in ho'ona'auau, the rebirth of communities' knowledge through ʻāina education, ho'omana, the restoration of our cultural and natural landscapes, and ho'olu'ai, the restoration of abundance and food sovereignty. So we're able to distribute food provisions in the future to this community. By achieving these goals, we can address our vision of becoming noho papa. Becoming noho papa, becoming able to thrive in a place for multiple generations and not having to depend on external resources and instead being able to rely on an internal abundance. So next time everybody's at the store, getting all of their goods, no need, because it's all in the ʻāina already and provided for to the community. So just wanted to share a little bit more about this place where it is Koholalele. So here's the map of the islands of Hawaii. As you can see, it's in Hamakua, so where the star is in Hamakua Hikina. And this is really what the ʻāina looked like for a long time. Yeah, this ʻāina was clear cut in the late 1800s to allow for sugar to be planted. This means that most native forests were completely destroyed, as were native varieties of food crops that the communities depended on for survival. And these plants were then replaced with sugar yeah, which persisted for over 100 years and was later replaced with eucalyptus. Due to the history of sugar and eucalyptus, the land was heavily poisoned to combat pests, species other than the one being cultivated, and to help with the processing of these plants. So when our hui began, you know, there was just a really, really small clearing, but it's emerged. So our organization is really versatile. And as such, the work that we do, it changes, right? We have a staff of 7, but really an ʻāina staff of 5. And it changes from day to day, week to week, month to month, really depending on the number of groups we are hosting, the time of year, but really it's the needs of our community and the needs of ʻāina. So our work revolves around community and whatever it takes to support and appropriately care for our community, which we see as our keiki, as the children, as makua adults, and older kupuna or elders that are both people, plants, animals, rocks, all of these things. So with being a small organization, we do a lot of kuleana together. So we have a lot of collective kuleana. Some of them are, you can see in these images here, but it includes a huge variety of things, dependent on the needs, again, of our community at that time. We host education groups. We propagate and plant native species and Hawaiian varieties of canoe plants. We remove invasives. We harvest and process foods. We even make our own flour out of like breadfruits and banana. So cool. We write grants. We host an after school and summer youth mentorship program. We engage in regular practice of ceremony and really much, much more. There's not enough time for me to share. And fortunately, as a part of my internship, I was able to be involved in all of these different hana, raising food, caring for this land. As you can see here, Auntie Loke, she's making kaula. She's making string out of a tree. And here you can see my nephew is actually pounding poi, and some people planting and learning the water cycle mele. These are more photos that kind of capture the collective kuleana that we all share. Yeah, it can come to raking, to preparing for ceremony, and a lot of planting. So something that I really wanted to focus on today, because I don't have time to speak about everything, I really wanted to focus on, I think, the things that are especially special about our hui, which is the way that we view invasive species, and cultivating and processing food, and really supporting our broader Hawaiʻi community in times of need. So our Malama ʻāina work began with the clearing of ironwood trees. You can see on the bottom photo, those are ironwood trees in the background. Near and around this place that we call our mala, our cultivated space. And the manual removal of guinea grass clumps, to which we dedicate and continue to dedicate a lot of time to. Although the easiest way to get rid of these invasive plant species would be to use herbicides. Our community members are going to be ingesting these plants, yeah, that we grow, and we don't want to feed our communities this kind of poison, nor continue to poison this land that has been poisoned because of plantation and all of those things in the past. So instead, we continue to do everything by hand, yeah, with the use of no chemicals and no heavy machinery to promote the health of ʻāina. This is a major reason that this kind of work, it takes time, yeah? We can't clear many acres in 1 month, but just to be able to clear one space and continue with our maintenance is something that is a huge feat. So doing things the ope requires us to not only, yeah, weed whack areas once, twice, maybe 10 times. So we're eternally grateful to all of the groups that come in and help us remove this guinea grass. Without using herbicides, it also allows our hui to be innovative and collaborative with how we care for ʻāina. So here in this top photo on the left is our hui mau ʻāina staff with Dylan, who is our intern, a student at Kanuoka ʻāina, a senior student. And he taught us how to make FPJ, fermented plant juice, out of mai'a, out of banana. So instead of having to use, right, non-natural fertilizers, we use this to fertilize our kalo and our other plants. And as you can see on the bottom photo, the kalo is getting really big, huh? Because it likes all of this, this good ono juice. I think something else that is really cool and innovative is how we repurpose these invasive species. First off, when we pull these invasive species, we're not necessarily, you know, mad at them. It's not their fault. We pull them with kindness, you know, and we just say, we're sorry, you just don't belong here. And then we try to repurpose. Yeah, so this ironwood, a lot of times is cut into good chunks that can be used for firewood, that community can come and collect to make firewood. We also use it for imu, right, the underground oven for ceremony and to feed community. But also look at this super innovative way. As a fence, no need fence material, just use the ironwood. Because of course pigs are a big issue. We love them, but they love the kalo, so we have to make some barriers in between. So I think that's just something that's super cool and innovative. As well as in this time, right, of coronavirus, in this time of great need, of people not having as many resources as they're used to, we're able to harvest all of this food that we're growing. We're able to prepare meals, and also we're able to be that hub that collects donations from our dear community members to feed community through our community kitchen and our meal program that actually happened today. So I mahalo the rest of the hui kalamai for not being there. And I just wanted to add one more part of our individual kuleana, which is really, really cool, is getting to know the entire ahupua'a of Koholalele. Yeah, not just working in the one space, but getting to know the extremities. So being able to kind of explore and collect water and collect different resources in the gulches that delineate the eastern and western boundaries of the ahupua'a. And that is the one place that a lot of the native species and a lot of the Hawaiʻi varieties of plants persisted. Yeah, because when the plantation time came, they just cut everything. They bulldozed things and there was nothing native left. So being able to go into these places and collect these plants and propagate and then replant them in the ʻāina way where they're supposed to grow, I think is something that has been such a cool opportunity. I'm so happy to be a part of. Oh yeah, continuing, some of the individual kuleana that I had was to create an ʻāina education handbook, which would be used for future ʻāina education coordinators, people like myself. That includes, you know, protocol, oli, some of the mo'olelo that we share in our group days, hosting days, as well as mana'o on our aloha and mahalo circles. So as a means to help you understand a little bit more about what our hui is about and what our place is like, I'm going to share a very small portion of the mo'olelo that we would share when hosting a group at Koholalele. First and foremost, it's important to understand that the very philosophy of this work is that we share this mo'olelo in place, right? So it would be at Koholalele. I encourage you to come to Koholalele and you'll be able to learn with the place firsthand, and then you can share the rest of the mo'olelo with you. But now I'll just share this little portion. So if you think of the name Koholalele, now we can break it down into kohola and lele. You can the whale, humpback whale, leaping, humping whale, jumping, humpback whale. Furthermore, if we look at the word kohola, the word for the humpback whale, and we break it down into its Hawaiian meaning of koho and la, koho to follow or to choose, and la, the sun. This tells us that there's a relationship between the kohola, the humpback whale, and the sun. At Koholalele, we know that the relationship with our place is that when the sun rises at our most eastern point at Kaula, the point of Kaula, this is the time of Keaupolohiwa Kanaloa, of the winter solstice. At the same time, that's when the kohola, they arrive in our ʻāina. So right, kohola serve a huge function, many functions to the ocean, to our entire universe. But what do? Do they spend time in Hawaii their whole lives? A'ole. They come here, they reproduce, right? They have their babies, and then they go up to the north, to places like Alaska where they eat. Yeah, they eat all of these really nutrient-filled krill and plankton and things like that. And then when it's time, they migrate down here to Hawaii. So an important function. So what do you do after you're full? You poop. So actually, a very important function of the kohola is this poop. So friend of ours, also my mentor who helped to mentor me in water sampling, Dr. Kiana Frank, she shared with us that there's a microbe in whale poop that actually goes and it signals to the coral polyp to reproduce. Yeah, and the coral polyp, for us in Hawaii, with this Hawaii worldview, the kumuipo, the first thing to be born is the coral polyp. So it actually starts all life. So the kohola have this function of cultivating abundance, yeah, in our oceans. So with understanding a little bit more about the name kohola lele, it then informs us of what the kupuna of this place envisions that the function of this place be. Yeah, that our function on land also be to cultivate abundance. So that is something that we continue to do with groups and something we strive for. Yeah, super cool. And it also tells us to look past just the typical kohola, it means whale, to look deeper into it, right? And then we can look past these eucalyptus trees and the skinny grass and we can see the future that we want to embody. So that was a really quick sum up. Again, if you want to learn more, come visit us at Kohola Lele. Another kuleana I was fortunate to have was Ohivai. I approached Huima, I said, how can I help? They said, hey, can you please help us collect these water samples? I said, okay, shoot, sounds good. It was really, really interesting. I was fortunate that Dr. Kiana Frank at UH Manoa taught us all of these procedures. So this would involve collecting fresh and salt water samples at 4 sites monthly, Kalapahapu'u, Lepelau, Koholalelekai, and Waihalulu. You can see the process here. It's a pretty fun process, you know, bucket with a rope and a pulley system. We throw the bucket over the pulley, over the bridge. Make sure that the bucket isn't filled too full with water. If not, it's going to be a little too full to bring back up, yeah? And then after, we make sure we have sanitized bottles that we collect this water in. We're collecting this water to analyze its microbes, yeah? So we collect it from all of these places, then bring this water back to the lab, or hale pa'awilo. And here, I was tasked to filter all of these microbes. You can kind of see the filtering process here. And you can imagine, as you see, the strata, all of the variety of different water colors, that some vai is going to take much longer to filter those microbes out, yeah, because of the sediments. But really, the reason that we're collecting these microbes is to be able to make connections. First, to be able to assess our restoration health, but also to be able to make connections with the weekly observational data that we collect to see, is there something in the water? Is there a certain microbe that is present at the same time that the whales come and visit us? And that's why they come at this time of year. Does it have something to do with poliahu, the snow on the mauna? Yeah, is summer the best time for us to be swimming in the ocean? I don't know, all kinds of things. So we're supposed to meet and look at the results, look at the microbes in the water with our observational data and try and draw conclusions. Unfortunately, coronavirus stopped us from doing so. So that is something that we will continue to do, and it's an ongoing project. But I'm sorry I don't have any results to share with you today. So just to end, I wanted to end with some discussion, but really, we're supposed to say how we helped the organization. I feel that, yes, I was a help to the organization in terms of hours, you know, that I was able to contribute volunteer hours, but really it's me who was the one that benefited from my work with Huimo. Yeah, I can't even begin to describe all of the ways that Huima has changed my life and all of the positive things that it has brought. But I do know that my forever mission is to help to bring those same things to this hui and the people and the ʻāina that I now call my ohana. Something I'm really thankful to that Huima instilled in me was really this passion to get to know this place that I live in, Makahana Loa. And because of that, I did a directed studies course and started to do research on this place, Makahana Loa. And I'm really hoping to be able to form community here and break down some of the barriers between neighbors, between how come people in the community don't end up doing malama ʻāina in their community. How come, for me, I'm not from Koholalele, I'm from Makahana Loa, you know, and I cannot malama ʻāina in my own place. So trying to connect people and make them proud to be from Makahonaloa, from this place, in learning their mo'olelo. Oh, yeah. So some future steps. I continue to work for Hui Malama i Ke Ala Ulili as long as is possible. Even if it's not in a paid capacity, as long as they'll have me, I will forever be a part of Hui Mau. And again, really working with my community in Makahonaloa to break down these barriers that we have between one another, and to just grow in Pilina with each other. And finally, I'm also an expecting mother, so I'm super excited to be able to share all of this great information with our keiki, and to be able to really deepen our relationship with this place. I wanted to end with a pule. However, I do understand we probably don't have much time left. So I just want to grant long life to this way of thinking, to ʻāina education, to malama ʻāina, to all of the ʻāina that surround us, to hui mau, and all of the people here on this call. And mahalo nui to all of these people. Without them, none of this would be possible. Any questions?
Thank you, Leilā, for your presentation. That was fantastic. It sounds like there might be a question or so from your family audience. But
okay. Oh, in my audience here?
Yes. Is there any questions from your audience there?
No. They've been listening for a while. I did want to also share that I started this internship, I don't know, last year sometime, and that since September I've been employed, and after upon graduating I'm going to become full-time. So that's really I'm finally working in my dream job with the people I dreamt of working. So I'm just super fortunate and thankful.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience for you, and I'm so pleased that you're moving forward with continuing the work with the organization. I would like to ask you, if you were to form your own organization for your local community, what would you incorporate that is maybe above and beyond what you're doing currently?
I'm not sure how to say above and beyond, because I feel like what I'm doing currently is pretty above and beyond. But I would say that I do have hopes of maybe one day helping with the formation of some kind of organization here. But I can't be the one to dictate what that's going to look like. I've been a member of this community now for 3 years here in Makahonaloa specifically. And I think we really need the insight and contribution of other community members to see what it is that the community here in this place needs. From speaking to some, I can imagine that something that would be really important is some kind of a after-school program, or some kind of a way that kids after school can go and malama ʻāina in a certain place. And I did want to share one more thing, that because of all of this entire experience and doing my research on Makahonaloa, we found out that there's actually testimony now happening to acquire the Lai of Makahonaloa, which is the point. It's a very famous point, very important culturally, to be acquired by the county, to be an open space. So maybe that this could serve as a place that these keiki help to malama, and this could serve as a foundation and a place where they can learn the mo'olelo of this area. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic news. Thank you so much. So we do have one question for you. It's from Dr. Ostertag. I think we have time for it. So you've done a lot of work with children. How do you think the kids are going to be able to teach the adults based on your work?
How can kids teach themselves? That's a good question. I guess just maybe by spending time together. I don't know, I feel like in Olelo, Hawaii, actually, I know, I had to think about it for a second. I think by having things like ohana nights and just many times parents are encouraged, and even sometimes it's mandatory that that they're involved in their children's education, that they're involved in the programs in which their children are in. So I think that the way that their parents can learn from them is from attending these different events. But I think just spending time together and listening to your keiki, you know, as a mom, I'm gonna listen to my child. So I hope that parents, as they see now, I think there's been a big shift of how we all view the world. Yeah, so maybe now it's made everyone a little bit more humble and made people more open to different perspectives. And maybe at this time, it makes parents more open to listening to what my keiki has to say.
All right, well, thank you so very much for your words of your thoughts on that. I agree with you.